Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
So what today I'll be talking about is I'll first mention about the vision, goals and target global and India. I'm sure you must have read, but I'll just go through that. Then I'll talk about the notification, enrollment and kind of a difference between them. There's a lot of confusion sometimes between that. Then I'll talk about the TB index. There are 9 indicators in which the performance of NTEP is measured. So I'll talk about that. Then I'll give a brief overview and some salient features of Nikshay, and then the workflow of enrollment, and then adding test till the notification part, because there are many things in Nikshay which will go eventually. Then I'll just talk about a little bit about Nikshay dashboard and the reports and registers that are available there, and about DBT and what kind of indicators we measure there, and this is how the presentation will go. So when we talk about sustainable developmental goals, we have this target for elimination of the TB by 2030. The big picture is to end TB and to have a TB free world. So the end strategy is by 2030, 80% reduction in TB incidence rate, and that everything is compared to 2015. So whatever incidence, mortality or out of pocket expenditure, whatever indicator measured in 2015, compared to that, if we are aiming to reduce it by 80%, that is the WHO end TB strategy. 90% reduction in the annual number of TB deaths by 2030 compared to 2015, and so basically that is the end target. But in between, from 2015 to 2030, we have certain milestones as well. So 2020 is one milestone year, before 25. So I'm not sure how much we have been able to attain due to corona by 2020, but that is a cutting milestone year, and 2025 is another milestone year. And another indicator is here: no household should be affected by TB faced catastrophic expenditure. So this particular indicator, we are aiming to have it at 0. Then United Nations High Level Meeting on TB in 2018, there was a report. This includes 40 million people treated for TB from 2018 to 2020. I mean, that is something which is very data-based. At least 30 million people provided with TB preventive treatment from 18 to 22. All these are just database. I'm sure these will keep popping up into your this whole work when you'll be working here. So we can switch it from here. But most important is that the NTB strategy by 2030. And the same thing is here, but it's a broader thing. Vision is to have a world free of TB, 0 deaths, 0 disease and 0 sufferings. When we have a vision, then we have a goal also. Like we have a vision, but we cannot go without any goal. So the goal-oriented strategy is to end the TB epidemic. Now how do we define that? So to define that, we have these indicators which I already talked about. Reduction in the TB deaths, incidence rate and catastrophic cost which is incurred due to the treatment or diagnostic services. So that is the target for 2035, 2030, 2020 milestone and 2025 milestone. So these are the milestone years and these are the set targets. This slide is only to give you a picture of where we stand as a nation as compared to the global sector, and you can see that if we talk about TB incidence and mortality, we stand like 26% of the global TB incidence, we contribute to that. Then if it comes to TB mortality, we contribute around 36% of that. So we are like the highest contributors in these indicators, and rest are the HIV TB incidence, HIV TB mortality, multi-drug resistant TB. So here also you can just see that the first 2 indicators and the last 2 indicators, children with TB, India actually contributes more than a quarter, and in these 2 indicators around 1/3 of the contribution towards global indicators from India. So it's a high thing. Like we don't want to lead in these indicators, it's the bad indicators. So keeping that in the picture that this is the current scenario, here on we move on to what we as a nation we are achieving or we are trying to strive for. So I think everyone is aware that although sustainable developmental goals, they talk about ending TB by 2030. Our honorable Prime Minister is kind of more ambitious. He is claiming that he declared in the summit that India is ready or maybe striving to end TB, and it's not to end TB but to get those sustainable developmental goal targets, which is supposed to be by 2030. But India as a nation, we have a bold commitment to attain that goal by 2025. So the clock is ticking was what the theme of this World TB Day was. So yes, clock is ticking. We have 21 is running. Now I will be talking about why notification and enrollment. So this is just a letter which claims that as you all know, TB is a notifiable disease, right? So this was an official order from the government of India that every patient which is diagnosed with TB, even if it's presumptive TB, it has to be notified. It is a notifiable disease. And in 2018, if a practitioner is avoiding this notification, in 2018 it came to point that if notification is not done promptly, then it is an offense. And before that, like these are the 9 indicators to measure the performance of NTEP. First is points on, so if we look at all these indicators, they are all weighted with a score. 20 marks is given to the notification achieved. Points on TB notified patients with HIV, it's 10. Points on UDST. UDST is universal drug sensitivity testing, so 10 points are given to that. Treatment success rate. So in success rate, there are 2 indicators again. One is cured and one is just treatment completed. So cured is when the mode of diagnosis is microbiological. Okay, so there are 2 modes of diagnosing TB, microbiological and clinical. So when we diagnose a patient with microbiological examinations like sputum microscopy or CBNAT or TrueNAT, like when we are able to look at the mycobacteria, so that is microbiologically confirmed. And clinically is when the mode of diagnosis is through X-ray or maybe CT scan, any other, if it's clinical, because it's not just pulmonary, you can have port spine or you can have meningitis. So if it is clinically diagnosed and you're not able to get the mycobacteria, then after the treatment completion, they are called treatment completed. But if it is microbiologically confirmed and at the end of the treatment, when you get the follow-up sputum microscopy or CBNAT and we can say that okay, there is no MTB found, then that patient is declared as cured. But when we talk about treatment success rate, we include both of them. So that in that 15 points are given. Then you are looking after DBT, right? So under DBT we have Nikshay Poshan Yojana also. So Nikshay Poshan Yojana, the beneficiaries paid, that is also one indicator, and for that 10 points are given. Points on DRTB patients, treatment initiation, drug resistant TB. When we diagnose it and start the treatment initiation, if the patient is started on the treatment, so the percentage and the scoring, it gets 15 score there. And the rest of the 3 are expenditure, which is finance based, how much expenditure is done on these programs. Chemoprophylaxis, this is something that is really getting a higher emphasis these days. We have newer guidelines for TB preventive therapy. So this gets 5 points. And the last one is people living with HIV. Like how many of them are screened and given treatment and prophylactic treatment. So that is 5 points. So these are the 9 indicators where the performance is measured. And to monitor this, to monitor the performance on these indicators, here comes Nikshay. And how do we measure it? There Nikshay comes into part. So what is Nikshay basically? This is a web-based portal. The word actually is a combination of 2 Hindi words. It's TB in Hindi, it's called Kshay Rog, and Ni is not, no. So Nikshay. And also I think because it was developed jointly by Central DB Division of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and National Informatics Center NIC. So that Nick and Shay, it just combined to form Nikshay. It was launched by the Government of India in June 2012. And like I mentioned again, there was a gazette notification that was published by the government of India, which mandates all the private health facilities also, because initially private health facilities were not notifying TB. So there was this notification which establishes, which informs the details of TB patients treated by them to NICSHARE. So notification is only, we can say it is eligible or it is validated when you notify it to NICSHARE. So this is the portal where we measure. Yeah.
Next.
And I won't go very in detail about it, but it is an ICT based system for TB patient management and care in India. And it just provides you an interface for public and private sector as well, and for the healthcare providers. And it integrates many technologies, not just adherence technologies, but many different kinds of technologies. Like it's evolving every time. Like ever since I joined, there are many new things that are being added. So it's a very dynamic and evolving kind of a portal. And we can measure the whole performance and data of DSTB and DRTB. The good thing about this is that even at the PHI level and even at the ASHA level, they can have their own access for NICSHARE. And in like PHI, ASHA, TU is the TB unit. Then at the district level, DTC, and state level. So at every level, there are multiple kinds of access. Liberty and access kind of, at one portal you can access certain things, but maybe you're not able to access other things. At TU level, some things are editable, but at the state level they are not. So it just changes from what level you are logging into NICSHARE. But it's a good thing because it is kind of going to a decentralized form. And not just on web, it has a very good mobile app also. So all the field workers, they can actually just look at the mobile app, and it's very friendly. Like, I mean, you just have to just train them, or they're very expert in that. But refresher trainings are there to to keep sensitizing them and just refreshing their new, if there is something new. So there's a mobile app version also. And why we are talking about NICSHARE? Because we are moving towards digital reporting, so that we have less of paperwork. But right now both physical registers or reports and NICSHARE, both are actually at the field level, both are maintained. But we are moving towards digital, and it's a good tool for real-time information management as well. So let's go ahead next. This is how it looks like when you, I mean, I'll be able to log in and show you some of the features, but this is how it goes. It's very simple login. There is a login ID and password. You log into that. That is the website from where you can access it, and there is a mobile app as well. And this is like the home page. This is how it looks like. On it's not clear here, but that side, on the left side, we have all the icons for reports, registers, dashboard, vision, administration, and others. So all these are available on the left side, and this is how the home page looks like. But it also keeps evolving, it keeps changing. If there is something new that has been added, it just pops up here. So this thing keeps evolving. But if you get the overview, you can select the year and you can see the performance of India as a whole, or you can select the state. Yes, so this is just I'll show it on that only, but I'll just wanted to show that from where a patient comes and to what NICSHARE comes into picture. Like this is the first time when a patient comes, it could be a presumptive TB. From there, this is the whole flow. You identify a presumptive case, or it could be a confirmed case if it's referred from somewhere. That's when the new enrollment happens. Okay, the new enrollment is like adding their details, demography, bank details and everything. So that happens there. So that is just enrollment, new enrollment. That happens at the PHI level or the TU level. Then you add the test for the diagnosis. It could be microscopy or CBNAT. Then you add the test, and that is when the patient is diagnosed positive, that is when it is called notified. So that is the difference between enrollment and notification. enrollment is just identifying a case that it could be or it could not be TB, but just enrolling the basic details, demographic details like mobile number and everything. You happen to have a case, maybe he or she is presenting with fever, night sweats, cough, or maybe blood in the sputum or blood and cough, or and if there is other systems involved, they can just come with neck stiffness or seizure, and like if it's meningitis. If it's just a presumptive case where it's not diagnosed as TB, but symptoms show that it could be it could be TB, or it's a contact of already TB diagnosed patient. That contact also can be presumptive TB, or HIV patient. If they are living with someone who's a TB positive patient, like contacts, and if they are showing symptoms, so they are this whole. And one more thing, in pediatric population, you do not find such kind of symptoms in small children, but if they are not gaining weight, if they are losing weight, if they are inconsolably crying or cranky, and there is loss of attention or something, and fever, yes, febrile seizures are there, so, and plus they are also contacts of TB. This whole cohort is called as presumptive TB. Presumptive is just that it's not diagnosed, but we think that it is TB. At that point, if you're enrolling, it's just enrollment. It's not notified. But as soon as you test it clinically or microbiologically, and it is confirmed that it is TB, and that's when you add the test and make a check that okay, we have added the test. That day, it is called as a notified case. Okay. So from there, it gets notified. Once notified, then treatment initiation part comes into picture, and in the treatment initiation, all these things take place: treatment, prescription, contact tracing is getting all the information for the contact, screening them, comorbidity, like we measure HIV, diabetes, and tobacco consumption rate. These days, COVID is also added. Then we assign a health facility. Like if a patient comes to a district TB center, but the patient lives maybe in another district or maybe some other block in the same district, so they can assign a health facility, and these are just engagement and staff. So which one will be looking after them, assigning a treatment supporter, or maybe an ASHA. So these things happen at this level. This can also be done till the PHI level. Moving on, adherence. Adherence is just a digital way to monitor if the patient is actually complying with the medication. So there is a tool in Nikshay also. There are two modes of adherence. First is like a DOTS provider is giving them and just noting it down. One is it was recently came into picture. It's 99 dots. So 99 dots is like an envelope, and you just put the whole medicine sachet in there. And after every dose, like if the patient is taking 4 FDCs or 3 FDCs, there is a number, and you just dial it, and that number is just linked to your Nikshay ID, and it just ticks it, like it goes green. If they do not call, it will remain red or this and that. So that is a digital way of monitoring if the patient is adhering to the treatment regimen. That can also happen at the PHI level. These are the follow-up tests based on what kind of TB a patient has, DSTB or DRTB. They have multiple levels for the follow-up examinations. Like if it's a simple DSTB, it could be at the 4th month, and at 6th month you can have a sputum microscopy. But if it's a DRTB case, then 3 months and 6 months, then you have to have culture also if it's XDR. So depending on what kind of TB a patient is diagnosed with, follow-up test can happen accordingly. That also can happen at PHI level. Moving on, patient details. Patient details, sometimes what happens, there is a duplicate entry of the patient. Like they enroll somewhere, they go to Seeker maybe, they are not satisfied, and then they'll go to Jaipur. They'll come here, and they have 2 mobile numbers, so it might get enrolled with 2 of its identities. So this feature, delete patient, is now removed. It can happen at the central level, but right now it's not accessible to the at the TU level, because there were many, just to improve their indicators, they were deleting it like that. So this has been removed from there. And the treatment part, it's something dynamic, right? Like every 1 month, if the patient is coming, there is a change in the regimen or something. So these patient details, treatment and the prescription, the health facilities might change again. So these are very dynamic things that they might keep changing. Like if they're not responding to treatment, the next CBNAT might show that okay, it's resistant to one of the drugs. So again, the treatment part can change, the health facility might change. So that, and based on the kind of diagnosis and the treatment regimen the patient is on, final outcome is like there is a date when the outcome should be done, and there are multiple outcomes for a patient. It could be treatment completed, cured, lost to follow up, death, or maybe relapse, or there is recurrence of TB. All these things these come into the outcome, but there is a fixed date that by that time you have to update whatever outcome you are assigning to the patient. So that can also be done till the PHI level next. So like I already, it's just
different.
that new enrollment. It is when a presumptive case arrives. It could be a negative diagnostic test result, right? If it is negative, it will remain in presumptive open, and after 1 month it gets auto-deleted. But if it's diagnosed as TB positive, it will be diagnosed and not notified. But it will show pending treatment because we have not started treatment yet. We have just added the test, anything, CBNAT or microscopy or X-ray. Then comes treatment initiation. We put on a regimen based on their weight bands, based on the diagnosis. We put on the treatment. Next is the outcome. So this is a very brief flow of the patient, but I just explained it in a little more detail. And new enrollment I already mentioned, presumptive case or taking treatment for public or private sector, DSTB, DRTB, all the kinds of patients, we have a module for the enrollment. Like I mentioned, at the TU level, it doesn't happen at the state level. At the TU level, when on the left side there is new enrollment, you just have to click on new enrollment. Then select the patient type, all these details about the patient, name, age, father's, husband's name, age, gender, phone number, address and everything. Residence details, these are very important, and then because you have to assign the district, then TU and everything, so these things are mandatory. There is a star mark on that as well, and the PIN code is very important. Demographic details, it's about the area where they live in, it's rural, urban or tribal. In Rajasthan we have tribal areas as well. Marital status and everything. So these are just the demographic details, self-explanatory. Key population is one important thing. In key population there are certain vulnerable population which are more vulnerable to get affected by TB infection or TB disease. Having some like first of all is the contact of TB patient. If I have TB, everyone is who's in my household contact or even at my workplace, they are at risk of if I am not on treatment, they are at risk of getting infection from my end. So contacts of known TB patients, that is one key vulnerable population. Then diabetes, tobacco users, any form, HIV, prison mates because they are living in overcrowded places, in slums. Minors, you might come across a lot of mining areas in Rajasthan also, and silicosis is a very big issue there. So that migrants, because they travel a lot, so you do not know what kind of community they live in, the refugee, slums, healthcare workers and others. In others, everything which comes into some kind of vulnerable population, but they are not among these, they come into other, and the last is the not applicable part. And HIV status, that is positive, negative or unknown. So these are the details which are mandatory for enrollment. An emergency contact person, just have to enroll a mobile number. Next. And after everything is done, the patient is enrolled. They come into the enrollment register. Okay. And that will be presumptive open. Open as in, it will remain open for 1 month for any intervention that you're doing on the patient. If it gets diagnosed, it will be diagnosed. And if for 1 month nothing is happening for the patient, you do not even conduct a test or anything, after 1 month it will automatically close. Or if you know that the patient is not TB, we can close it from our end as well. But in 1 month, if we do not do anything, it will automatically close. So that is there. Yes. So like once we enroll the patient, there will be an ID which will be then generated. I'm just going like that. What are the parts? But I'll just show it on the portal. That will be self-explanatory. Again, like you enroll it, you have an ID, you put it there. The patient details will pop up on your screen. This is already I have showed. Whatever you do within 1 month, that status will keep changing. Transfer in and transfer out, like I said, assigning a health facility. If a patient is from one district or one state, if we're transferring it to another state or district or health facility, these come into picture. Transfer is like from other state, if it's coming to my state, from district to my district, then that is transfer in, and transfer out if I am referring out the patient. So that is also one thing. Adding test is again, it's self-explanatory. You just have to when you put the ID, the patient details come in, you add the test, and whatever test you prescribe for it, sputum, microscopy or Swabian, you just have to write the details of the test, what kind of test and what kind of patient it was. It was presumptive. We can also assign test when there is a follow-up, right? So if that actually there is a drop down that why are you testing the patient, so that's pretty simple. Yes, this is like how do you search a patient, that is. You just have to put an ID there, and because when you put an ID or a name or anything, like a lot of people can have one name. So if you put a name, then a lot of pop-up windows might open, but I prefer only patient ID, so that is just assigned for one. Sometimes it's assigned for two, like I said, there are two mobile numbers, but that is just a duplicate ID. Like there you see that add test, there you add the test and adding test results from the patient across any location. You can do it from any location at any PHI level. You just have to add test. If you have the Nikshay ID, then you can add test from anywhere. This workflow I've already explained. Every patient, if they have one number, it ideally should be associated with the Aadhaar, so that everyone has a unique Nikshay ID. This is coming up, but right now it's only the mobile number and the gender and name. They can provide one unique ID to a patient, and these are all the variables which are captured in the Nikshay enrollment, which I already talked about: the key population, the residents, and everything, contact persons. Next.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.